Who needs a drink on a Friday night? How are you guys? It is 10 p.m. Continental Europe time, 9 p.m. UK and Ireland. What is it? 4 EST and 1 PST. Just in case you're not aware. Figured I'd share that info with you. How are you all? What is happening? I'm just getting settled here for the long night ahead of me. Should be fun. What are we talking about? Who's in the room? Time flies. Ray, Matty, upvoted. That's nice. That's a good idea. Yeah. And the usual suspects. Ping Echelon. I need a mega pint. That's from the trial from a few years ago with Johnny Depp, right? A mega pint. There were some really funny moments in that court scene. Oh, Lord. Lordy Moses, that was a mess, wasn't it? Jesus. Poor old Johnny. Bit of a mess himself. Bit of a mess. I had the Breguet on. Maybe I'll put something else on. There's the Breguet 7067. Listen, Breguet. Oh, it's actually ran out of power. I had it on. I put it on like an hour ago. I didn't even look at the time. Breguet is art. People don't understand what Breguet is. That's art. Listen to that wind. It's pure art. There's a PayPal. I'm betting it's Philip Manning. No, it's Louise. Thank you, darling. Thanks for the PayPal. Yeah, I was watching, this watch, that watch. Good channel, smart guy. Interesting monologue. And he's talking about Breguet. Listen, Breguet aren't going to do that hype, new, flashy. They don't have to. It's like going up to Leonardo da Vinci and say, hey, can you write us a good old pop tune and paint us a nice gorilla, please? Or going up to Haydn or Mozart. We'd love to hear some reggaeton out of you. You're not going to get that stupid hype bullshit out of Breguet. Breguet is class. It's art. And you also are supposed to be thankful, because if it wasn't for them, think of the amount of amazing things in your modern watches that wouldn't exist. So that's what Breguet is. Is it for stuffy old men? Not necessarily. I mean, it'd be cool. I mean, Mike from This Watch That Watch made a good point. They could use a kind of cool ambassador, couldn't they? They could use a DiCaprio or whatever. Problem with those guys is they rarely wear a timepiece because they like it. You know, gone are those days. Steve McQueen wore his sub and his 1655 song because he liked the watch, not because he was being paid. You know, those years are gone now. There was a time when you wore the watch because that was the watch you liked as a celebrity. These days, the celebrities are being loaned the watches or gifted the watches or whatever, and they have an ambassador deal, and that's why they may like the watch too, sure. But, until some big celeb goes, I'm going to wear a Breguet to the Oscars. It could be a young actor. It could be, Jacob Elordi or something like that goes, fucking, I'm wearing Breguet. I just don't. They're in a class of their own. You can't touch them. You cannot touch them. I'm going out on Instagram. I should be. What the hell's going on? Supposed to be going out on Instagram, but I guess it came to an end, did it? Oh, Instagram, I love you. Not. Title. Sorry, guys. Messy, badly programmed apps they have. Week. Instagram from the stream. Oh, lordy. Add Instagram. Bear with me, guys. Chat amongst yourselves. I'm going to put on the AP offshore. How about that? And cheers. I'm going to have a little tequila. Wake me up. Belleville, Canada versus US final with a question mark. Is that what you're watching? Andy London, do Breguet use ceramic bezels? Well, there are no bezels on these watches that I have. I wonder which one you're referring to. Does the Type 20, that's just steel. Type 21 was the same. I'm trying to think which one would have that as a necessity. You sure you know what you're asking? Galaxian, Prince Andrew out of a job. There's a Breguet ambassador for you. Very funny. Winter Olympics, what the fuck? Folk on a sledge. Oh, it's fantastic. Oh, God, it's heartwarming watching the figure skaters there today. Well, all the reactions today from yesterday. Beautiful. People changing their lives in real time. It's fantastic. My daughter's there. She's filming it. She's on the camera. I think she changed event today. I think last night was the last evening of the big air snowboard. That's what she was doing. And then there's something else. I think she mentioned it late last night. I have to give the AP a bit of a wind. I should have been stagnant for a bit. Big AP. I mean, you got to be watching the Winter Olympics. It's fantastic. Stephen Monash, good morning from down under. What time is it down there? Andrew Levchin. Canada in the final, US on away. Brad Cozier. I watched Steve McQueen, Dustin Hoffman last night in Papillon. Right, you have it written there. Brad Cozier asked me if I ever seen Papillon. Sorry. Yes, I would be remiss. Papillon is kind of a classic, timeless classic. If you know anything about Hoffman and Steve McQueen, you know Papillon. So I got some cigars from a viewer of the channel. Just came the other day. Picked them up from the post. He also sent some booze and some snacks. Thank you, sir, if you're watching. I didn't ask if I can use your name, so I'm not going to. But thank you, man. They're from the Netherlands. Jacob van Meer. Jacob van Meer. Anybody know those? Or Jacob? There was a stack of them in this little cute box. So I'm going to have one. I stuck them straight in the humidor just to give them a little bit of life. So if you don't mind, I'm going to have one right now and check them out. Oh, there's a Brendan sent me a PayPal as well. You guys are the best. What are we going to talk about tonight, guys? What would you like me to talk about? Current affairs? Prince Andrew? I know he's no longer a prince, but you should keep calling him a prince. You know why? To remind everyone of what gave him impunity. Because that title was what got him away with so much, and the reason why they moved in on him in the first place. We cannot forget that he was a member of the royal family. How much did the rest of them know? What did the Queen know? What did the King know? Will we be seeing more arrests? This is nice. Will we be seeing more arrests in the coming days, coming weeks? Why do these things take so damn long? Andy London. I just think ceramic bezels are for other watch brands. There's no bezel on these. There's no bezel to speak of on the Breguets, at least on this one, and which is the Tradition. There's a turning bezel on the Type 20 and 21, but that's steel. I'm looking forward to making the videos on these. They're bloody art. It's next level stuff. Yeah, upvote, guys. 52 upvotes. I don't know what's wrong with you guys. It was the same the other day when I was out and about. The votes are weak. The number of comments were weak. Whatever. People are losing interest, I suppose. It's fine. Things come in waves, right? Some big channels then just lose their spice or their appeal. People move on to the new guy. That's fine. Nothing wrong with it. Andrew, can't wait for the videos from Brigade. Well, they're not very hard to film. There's lots of beautiful detail. And think of all the different music I can use. French brand. Stunners. What's the drink, Johnny boy? Just a little tequila. It wakes me up. It keeps me awake. It keeps me kind of... Tequila's an opera, you know. It's a happy drink. I tried some of the gin last night that the viewer who sent these cigars. Just to pour a little bit, just to taste it. You know, trying to figure out why it's interesting. And my mood fell. Gin puts me kind of in a bad mood a bit. I have to mix it with something. You're not supposed to mix these drinks. People mix drinks a lot. It's fun. Like vodka. I know vodka very well. You're not supposed to mix that. It's the perfect balance of how the body absorbs alcohol. 40-60, 60% water. Developed by that chemist, right? What was his name? Dmitri. Look him up. And he's the same guy who did the periodic timetable of vodka. Believe it or not. Periodic. Oh my God. It's a slow show so far. Sorry. Dmitry Mendeleev. That's it. Russian chemist. Because when you mix the drink, then it sets things off balance then. That's why Russians can just keep pounding shots of vodka all night. Go through a whole bottle. They get drunk, but they don't get sloppy. And they wake up with a clear head. The minute you put juice in it or whatever, that's when you start becoming an idiot. Been there, done that. Bought the t-shirt. Steer Pike. Ah, yes. Where's my mouse? Supreme Court ruling against Trump's tariffs. Yeah, well, what kept him? In the meantime, he ran amok for a fucking year. Um, I don't know. It doesn't pertain to certain tariffs. The deal with the UK stands. What are they going to do? Give all the money back? Give the 18 trillion? That's such horseshit. Did you hear him say that? We made 18 trillion from the. They made like 80 billion or something. They made some decent money. 18 trillion is like half the fucking GDP. What are you talking about? Oh my God, he can just invent anything he wants. Did you see him the other day? He's like, Melania's film, they're packed out, they're sold out, people are loving it. It's truly proves that at some point in his life, someone pulled him aside, probably Jeffrey Epstein, and just said, it doesn't matter what is the truth. Just say it. And say it enough times. And it will be true. Clearly, he learned that lesson a very long time ago. Because the truth is, people will just believe what you say, especially if they like you, you know? This is what it looks like. Can I focus, please? Thank you.
Honey, did you hear that Trump said that we made 18 trillion on all the tariffs? See, honey? He was right, honey. We made 18 trillion. You know how much money that is, honey? It's fantastic. Also, honey, did you hear the Melania film? It's like the best-selling film ever. Oh my God, honey. What's for tea?
You're in a cult. I don't know what they're going to do now. So it's unlawful. Surprise, surprise. Thank you, Supreme Court of the United States, for dragging your heels while the whole world suffered, while the American consumer suffered. He's the one. They didn't get the whatever it was, 80 billion or whatever in revenue from other countries. They got it from their own people having to pay customs. That's how it works. I guess it's an education. He forced us all. We all know something now. We know that lots of people don't understand what a fucking customs duty is. Didn't know that people didn't understand that. I've been dealing with those for years. If I buy a watch off Chrono 24 that's in the Netherlands or in Spain or whatever, I won't pay a duty on it. Whatever I pay is whatever I pay, and it'll arrive and they'll deliver the package. If I buy from the United States or from Japan or Australia or Switzerland, for example, which is outside the trade agreement, then when they arrive at the door with the package, they'll say, we have a package for you. There's a customs duty of whatever. Can you sign here and pay it? Otherwise, we can't give you the package. You pay it. They don't pay it. They don't like you having to pay it, so the incentive is that they wouldn't like the tariff because that means that people may choose not to purchase. So a lot of European watchmakers and British watchmakers are suffering because Americans who would otherwise buy the watch are maybe holding off and going, hold on, how much? There was one guy who ordered a watch from here in Italy, and it was 1,750 euros, about $2,000 for the watch. And when it arrived, UPS were looking for $750 of import fee. And he either had to pay it on the spot or let them send the package back. That's how it works. Now, some companies, are they trying to swallow it as an incentive? Say, listen, now we'll cover it on our end just to make the sale, because it's better to make a sale than not to make a sale. Sure, that can happen, but that's just a workaround. I don't know what he's going to do. Market Online One. My buddy sends me a care package every Christmas from UK to here in the US. Normally stuff like mince pies, pot noodles. This time I had to pay an import duty on the package for the first time. What do you mean, what the fuck? You know what the fuck. You know exactly what the fuck. It's a big orange thing in a crappy suit. I have to pay customs duties all the time. I get send stuff from China. They send me watches and all sorts of stuff. I have to, turn them down half the time because, a lot of the stuff, watch brands it's all from China are garbage. But they send me, and I have to pay duty. I don't know what's in the box. I go to the place where I pick up my mail because they're like twice a week. And they're like, oh, some boxes came for you. We had to pay duties. I'm like, oh, fuck, how much? How much do I owe you? I give them cash. And then I just take the boxes, and then I discover, oh, it's this and that. And in many cases, people, a guy sent me a book not so long ago, big, beautiful book. And I had to pay, I don't know, 27 euros just to accept it. That's nothing to do with the United States tariffs. That's Italy doing its tariffs, as it always has. And it's just customs duties, import duties. If you're ever sending me anything from the US or Australia or outside of Europe, you're like, oh, I want to send us, a book or some cigars or something, whatever. Just mark it as zero value. Don't put the value. I know you might think, oh, it'll look better if I show him how much I spent on it or whatever. But you can always just tell me or I'll find out anyway. By putting the value on there, you're telling the Italian customs that it has a certain dollar of value. And now they want their import fees. It was always the case with America as well. There would be import fees. The thing is, he doubled them and tripled them. They were always there. I dealt with them for years. It's not like there was any significant difference between. There was always the import fees between the different continents, different territories. He just doubled them, tripled them, quadrupled them. That's all. Just pushed them up. So there it is. That's where the revenue is being made. It's been made off the American consumer. Virgo says, correct, but always put some value, like 5 or 10. Well, I tell all the watch brands from outside of Europe when they're sending me a watch, they want to send me a watch to see if I like it, and I'll review it. I always say, listen, just put not a sale, because that's the important thing. If they think it's a sale, you purchase something. We now have a sale. Now we have import duties, taxes on the sale. If you put not a sale, sample for review, dollar value 0, then you're in the clear. But it's also a good idea to put some small value on there, just to avoid suspicion, maybe, or something. Just say, oh, it's 50 bucks. In which case they might say, okay, well, that kind of qualifies as a gift. Some people think, oh, I'll send him an $8,000 watch and I'll put it as a gift. You can't. The gift has a cap on it. I think you can send, depends what territory you're sending it to, but I think in some countries they'll allow up to $150 gift without customs. And in some countries, only $50. I went around to my UPS guys there a few weeks ago, and they were like, tell us you're not shipping to the US. I'm like, yeah. They're like, well, we can't take anything over $50, 50 euro. We're not taking any packages that are worth over 50 euros. It's a total nightmare. And I was just like, okay, well, just mark it as 50 then. Mark it as value 49. Fuck it. The value was more, but I just marked it as that. Fuck them. GU Surgeon, I love how we have our own convo while Ocean rambles on. That's true. What are you guys talking about? That's kind of what the chat is for. I'm just here to present an arena. I'll sing a song while you guys talk. Mike Lewis. Supposedly Trump has generated 293 billion from tariff. No, it's less than that, but it's still in the billions. Where's my cut? I know, yeah. No, well, according to him, it's 18 trillion, which would end poverty forever in America. Would pay off every student debt, would pay. I don't know where they invent these numbers. He just comes up with them. It doesn't matter what. He can say any number. You know why? This is why.
Honey, did you hear what Trump said? It's at 35 trillion.
When you're a fumbling, gullible moron, you'll open your mouth as wide as you have to. You'll bend over as far as they ask you to. Michael Dridge, do I like the Italian Prime Minister? Well, no, she's a leader of Fratelli Italiani. Fratelli d'Italia. It's a fascist group. It's one of the prominent ones. There's Lega Nord, Casa Pound, and Fratelli d'Italia. They're the three prominent fascist groups. So she's a neo-fascist. Not my style, sorry. I mean, she's a no bullshit woman. That gives her a certain appeal. And she's lasted a lot longer in power than they thought she would. But yeah. I'm not a big fan of the old fascism, unfortunately. Dave, do you think I should go to secondary market for Rhodium Yachtmaster or direct to AD Bossman? Well, if you think you have a chance of getting it from the AD, get it from the AD. You get a brand new one. I mean, if there's a chance of getting it from the AD, I don't see why you would even consider the alternative. The problem is with most ADs, they're going to tell you that there's a long list and there's people ahead of you on that list, and it could be years, it could be, and how much of a spend history do you have? Have you earned their loyalty to you? Have you earned their respect? You know what I mean? All of those things. If those things are not in place, then you're looking at going to unless you want to start playing their games, slowly working your way toward that, which can be a long uphill struggle in some cases. It's not too bad with a Yachtmaster Rhodium. It's definitely there, but it's not as bad as asking for, Daytona or something. Could be worse, is what I'm trying to say, but it could be better. You could be looking for a 36 mil two-tone Explorer, in which case they'll probably hand you 5 of them and a box of Kellogg's cornflakes. It depends on the model. Rhodium Yachtmaster has become that was my first Rolex I got for my AD. And I kind of got lucky. And it was back in 2018. And it was still, they still thought when they stuck it in the window, they still took a bet like how long it would last. The guys in the store, they were in the AD. One guy said 10 minutes, the other guy said 20, the other guy said half an hour. They took bets. And that was back then. It's way worse now. Watches become a lot more popular. A lot of people blame me for that, believe it or not. It really depends on your situation. One thing you have to watch with, speaking of ceramic bezels, as someone brought up earlier, with the Yachty, one reason to get a Yachty from the AD that is not a normal reason, like it doesn't apply to many of the other watches, is what I mean to say, is that bezel. So if you get yourself, you're lucky enough to get a Pepsi or, ceramic bezel, GMT or sub, those things are scratch resistant mostly. So if somebody's worn the watch, it might have a few scuffs on the clasp, but the sapphire crystal and the ceramic bezel won't have signs of wear. Probably not. Let's hope not, right? You've got to shop around. But it's less likely to have signs of wear. And a little bit of light polish at your local watchmaker or whatever will bring the clasp back to where it should be. And you essentially have the new looking watch. Give it a rub down or have the store give it a little bit of a clean or whatever, The Yachtmaster has that platinum bezel, which can be a bit of a scratch magnet. Let me pull it up on Chrono. And you see it up at the 12 o'clock a lot. There's a big triangle at the 12 o'clock. I'll look up the 112266, okay? Because there's a newer one, identical looking watch. What on earth? Sorry, I looked up that and it brought up no results, as if there are no Yachtmasters in Chrono. Well done, Chrono. You're complete idiots. Yachtmaster, let's just do that. Close. So there's this big, so where are we? For the 40 here. Let me just take this one. Now this is a 2023 model, so this is the 126622. And it looks to be in perfect new condition. You see there that 12. So these these high gloss numerals on the bezel that stand out from the rest of the bezel, which is is brushed or what do you call it? Dashed, pebble dash or whatever kind of texture. And they can be a bit of a scratch magnet, unfortunately. Now, you can have it buffed out, but it's a much more elaborate process than just a regular lapping machine. This one is like new, unworn, you see? So this is what you want to go after, because look, they're all perfect. Now, the problem with that, and this applies whether you get it from this guy or from the AD, is now it's up to you to keep it from scratching. So you walk around like with your hand over it, protecting it like a little baby, which is no way to live with a watch. One of the pluses of getting one that's already got a few scuffs is now you can at least relax and live, let it live. you know. But there are very elaborate ways of bringing this bezel back to new, and only certain people know how to do it correctly to make it really convincingly new. And you will notice some of them are a little bit more affordable because they have that issue. And if you want to bring it back to new, it's down to you. Let's see how this one is. See, it has a few scuffs there on the 12. I mean, it's not going to change anything. But there's a good example. This one is from 2025. Very, very new. But he only wants 12 and a half. You'll see the 2025s going for 14 and a half. I'm speaking in euros here. Why is this one going for 12 and a half? Because he's worn it in. Look, he's got some scuffs. And he's aware that that can be an issue on the Yachtmasters. That's the clasp. See, this is so much easier to buff out these light scuffs here on the polished center links. And you may as well just leave them because you're going to put them in yourself anyway within a few weeks. The problem is the bezel. It's the most beautiful, important part of the watch because it's, it's a big chunk of platinum. It's what makes the watch kind of heavy. But it also comes with a price. You know what I mean? Veve, how about getting the center links brushed? Or doing a satin finish on the polished center links? You're removing the look of the watch. By all means, you could have it done, but it's kind of sacrilege. You're now making a customized version. Fine. Nick is looking to buy a Tudor Black Bay 58 in ruby. Any thoughts? It's a very nice looking watch. There are my thoughts. Sweets, the Fidel. Yes, I have the Fidel Castro. Wearing my Fidel, smoking a cigar, not drinking rum, but two out of three ain't bad. Daniel, I have scuffs, but I'm very affordable. Brad Crozier, because of your Yachtmaster video, I bought mine from a local AD. With the blue dial, I had to wait 10 months. Yeah, you're not the first person to say that, honestly. That was one of my early videos. And it's kind of when I hit the scene, and it got a lot of views. And I suppose it drew a little extra attention to the Yachty. I think what turned people off the Yachty was the name Yacht Master. There's Yacht Rock, right? Christopher Cross and stuff like that. And it's not the coolest image in the world, The Submariner is more of a badass guy, right? The GMT is a pilot guy, A rich fucking Nepo baby sitting on his yacht with his little pudgy arms, his pudgy cheeks. Isn't exactly a masculine look, right? The wealthy and the privileged wearing their polos, and their slip-ons. The yacht thing doesn't appeal to a lot of us men. Men. So I think the name was a problem. But as I said in that video, to me, it was kind of like an upper class sub. It was essentially the guts of a sub, which it is. And it's a 3-hander with the date. So it is a sub, but it's a sub with a suit on and some makeup on, or whatever, brushed hair. Kind of an upper class sub. If a sub is for kind of is the rugged grunt everyday or weekday Rolex, if you could call it that, then the yacht is the Sunday version, sparklier, brighter, more elegant shaped than a bit more upper class, you might say. It's a really, really gorgeous watch. And once you get past the name association, it's a really cool, evil looking watch as well. It's not to say it's girly or anything. It's not. It's a very masculine watch, but it's kind of shiny. It's got a shiny brilliance to it, which the sub subdues, right? A little. Orbitan. Fidel was a big watch enthusiast himself. There are pictures of him wearing Rolex on each hand. Yes. Well, back then, Rolex was kind of the tool watch. Also, Rolex is a charitable trust. They give up most of their money to charitable foundations. They support the arts. They support children, homeless children, and animal rights and all of this kind of stuff. That's where most of their profits go. People scoff at Rolex. But actually, they're the only company in the watch world that I can think of that do these wonderful things. I don't see other large watch brands giving away 90% of their profits. So out of all watch brands, I suppose, and there's a famous Rolex poster of Che Guevara, Ernesto, lighting up a cigarette with his Rolex on. I know people who actually refute that was ever a real poster. They say it was made up, some mock-up. The Rolex actually never released that picture. Let's take a look at it. Yeah, here it is. Time for revolution. Oh, wow, you can buy it. Oh, it's on Pinterest. God, I hate Pinterest. But that's what came up. There it is on the left. That's the poster there. Can I bring it to the... Look, I can't do anything. Look. Pinterest is like, yeah. There's the poster. Time for revolution. Whether affecting social change in Central America or launching with his friend Salvador de la Moneda in Santiago, Ernesto Che Guevara relies on his Rolex Submariner, a timepiece which has earned its reputation for rugged reliability in all situations. I know people who hate that. They're like, that's not fucking real. That's the woke left inventing it. I'm just jealous of that guy's cigars. Think about what cigars he had. Dang. The best of the best. Sweets. Most people think he's wearing a GMT in that picture. He is not. Looked like a sub to me. Yeah. You know what it looks like? I mean, you know what that watch is? I can fucking put that watch on right now. Because it's a 4-liner. That's a 5512. I have one right here. Still for sale. People are reaching out to me, but you know, a lot of tire kickers and so on. My favorite kind of people. So I can bargain for one in this condition. There's a 50. I'll put one on right now while I'm lighting my cigar. I'll do a Che Guevara. Hasta la victoria siempre. Sticker on with original bracelet. Very difficult to find. 1968, baby. Boom. What's the pose? Let me try and get it. It's like this. There's my Che Guevara. Take a snapshot. No, he's like this. No, he's like this. Because you can see the side of the watch. The original. I mean, what led to the current form of the Rolex Submariner? The 5512 4-liner. A classic. I feel good with it on, actually. I feel kind of at home with it on. She's poster rendition. Yeah, that's it. He's using a match. Look, I can light a match. A longer one. He's kind of got his fingers over like this. So you see the side of the watch. He's leaning over. The spirit of Che. When you have an imperialistic neighbor who wants to steal your land, it takes some fucking balls to tell them to go fuck themselves. His has a date, so maybe it's the 1680. Oh, yeah. Didn't even notice that. I'm not sure if the one in the picture, well, the one below the picture definitely has the date. Watches you, don't sell it. Stuart, it is not mine. It belongs to my good friend Simona here, who has a watch store here in Venice. He's appeared on the channel a few times. And he is owning a, jewelry store in Venice, 4 generations deep. There's quite a collection of, incredibly rare timepieces and other things in the shop, in the safe. And he has his own private collection, which includes his father's 1655. And he just recently said, I'm going to move some of these vintage collectibles. He said, do you think your audience might be interested? I said, sure, probably. A lot of guys with good taste and big wallets in my audience. So I took home, I was over at a store, we went for a beer, and I took home a 5513, and I wore it that night on the show, and it sold that night. I shipped it straight out. Guy was delighted. Sent me cigars and everything. And I went back to Simone going, well, sold. And he goes, okay, maybe show them this. This is a bit more pricey, a bit more special, but it's one of the good ones. It has service papers from 2007 from Rolex. All original parts. I said, sure. It's been in the house ever since. That was a couple of weeks ago. So it's not mine, it's for sale. I wouldn't mind keeping it, but I have other things to think of, other things to pay. Oh, I'm glad you brought this up, Andrew. Did you see Russell Crowe showing off his watches on social media? Russell Crowe has a watch channel. Russell Crowe started doing it on TikTok. It's awful quality. It's some little phone in a room. He doesn't need high quality. He's Russell Crowe. He's lost a little weight, thank God. That guy was exploding. He's putting a few too many shrimp on the Barbie or whatever the fuck he does. He's a big boozer as well, right? There's a man after my heart. Yeah, he's showing off his watch. He's a big watch guy. Russell Crowe was one of the influencers who got me into watches years ago. He was getting divorced and wanted to get rid of some of his watches from his collection. And he went to Sotheby's and they did a Russell Crowe auctions his watch collection called The Art of Divorce. And there was a YouTube video. It's still there if you want to go look for Russell Crowe, The Art of Divorce watch collection. Just put that in. I'm sure you'll find it. It's really interesting. There's a Yachtmaster in there. There's a Panerai. There's a Speedy. And he's, it's like lot number 60, lot number 13, lot number whatever. You know how that works. And he has a little commentary on each one. Because what he would do is he would buy himself a watch whenever the film wrapped. So when you finish shooting a film, the film isn't ready yet. It needs to be edited and color corrected and all that. But you wrap up on shooting. So the actors don't really have much left to do unless they have to go to the studio for looping months later. But for now, their work is done. The heavy lifting has been done. It's wrapping. That's what they call it. There's usually a wrap party. I've been at a few myself. And when he wraps, to celebrate wrapping, he would buy a watch. And that could be anywhere in the world, Depends where the film is being shot. He bought a Cartier in Rome, He got the Yachtmaster when he finished the film Master and Commander, which is an excellent film. I highly recommend you see it. It's really good. And he got the Yachtmaster because of that, because it's it's a nautical reference or whatever. I remember watching that video back in 2017. 2018, I just finished producing a record that had a huge budget. So I made a lot of money. And all of a sudden I had, a lot of money in the bank. And I always liked a nice watch, but up until then, I could never afford the watches I liked. I was dragged through Macy's many times by various girlfriends over the years. I was even gifted a couple of watches by ex-girlfriends. And I just never liked any of them. And of course, the ground floor of Macy's, what does that have? DW and Maserati watches and all these fashion watches. What do you think of that? Do you like that? And I'm like, ugh, horrible. I didn't know at the time. Somebody came over to me at the time, tapped me on the shoulder, said, "Someday you'll be a watch influencer." I'd be like, what are you talking about? It's ridiculous. I'm going to be a rock star. I never liked them. And then, of course, we wouldn't get anything. And then I'd be walking down Fifth Avenue and I'd go, "Oh, I like that. What's that?" And she'd be like, "Oh, what is it?" "It's $50,000. I'm not buying it." It's like the scene in Family Man, with Nicolas Cage. the suit. This is $4,800. Daddy's crazy. So I was fucked from the start, you might say. I always wanted the nicer watch. So yeah, years later then, started making some money, and then I was like, I want a fucking decent one on my fucking wrist after all these years. I'm in my 40s and I still don't have a decent watch. And I always got everything that I have. Nobody ever gave me anything, My dad gave me a guitar amp when I was 12. And my ma sent me a beautiful scarf for Christmas. That's all I can remember. Like, I never had a leg up. I never had anything. I always bought my own shit. So I was like, I suppose here we go again. And I started sitting up evenings. We were working. It was when I had that place downtown by the World Trade Center. We had an office space down below. It was myself and my friend Sharon. And I would trade with computers. He would trade on the stock market all day. I don't know how the fuck. I'd look over his shoulder going, dude, how are you not shaking? I don't know where he got his patience and tenacity and courage from trading on the stock market, losing $100,000 in 5 seconds and then winning it back the next minute. I'm like, oh my God, what a roller coaster. I was doing a bit more simple shit. I was doing computer stuff and music production at the same time. And so I would he was an early bird. He didn't drink. I always make friends with people who don't fucking booze. Isn't that weird? Even my good friends here, they don't booze too much. Weird. Anyway, so he'd be off to bed. And I would sit up. I'd open a bottle. And I'd sit up and watch movies or whatever. Continue doing production work because nighttime is when I'm most creative. And I started browsing videos and discovering all these people. And the Russell Crowe video was a big one. I didn't know what I was looking at the time. I didn't know what a Yachtmaster was at the time. But it was an education. So now, all these years later, Russell Crowe has his little TikTok thing. And everybody's watching it because he's a true enthusiast. And of course, his collection is outrageous. And like all great collectors, it's not about the most expensive piece. I mean, the guy has very expensive pieces, but he's all about small micro brands and interesting stuff. So it's kind of cool. SOL was my first nice watch. It was the same as many other people into watches. I'll give you a guess. You want to guess? It was the Seamaster 300M. Still have it. I bought it on eBay. I had no idea what I was doing. I liked it because it was handsome and rugged and sparkly at the same time. And Daniel Craig wore one in Casino Royale. And Pierce Brosnan wore one or a similar one in one of his Bond movies. I can't remember. And I thought, if it's good enough for fucking Bond, it's good enough for me. I was influenced by the Bond thing. Because Bond is, he's suave. He can wear a suit, a Brioni suit. But he's also badass. He's masculine. I was like, well, okay. Me likes that. And I was a super mega nut. I despised Rolex back then. I was all about Omega. That's all I cared about was Omega. You got to start somewhere, guys. I bought it from eBay for $1,500. No box, no papers. And I hadn't a clue what I was doing. All I knew is it was real handsome. It was the first time I bought a proper watch ever. And I was a little overwhelmed. And it's responsible for a lot, because what happened then is I'm like looking around the interwebs and I start finding lots of articles about replicas and so on. And, fake watches and how to spot if something's, like these days you could hand me that watch and before it even gets into my fingers, I'll tell you if it's real or not. But back then I really didn't have the faintest clue, and I could have been ripped off fairly easily. But what happened then is, because I didn't have box and papers, it was a naked watch, quote unquote. And what happened then is I started going through all the various web pages and YouTube videos and so on, people showing how to spot if there's an issue. And that was an education. By me being a bit paranoid, just trying to double check to see if my watch was real or not, it educated me. And of course, the more educated I got, the more into it I got. So in a way, it was kind of a blessing. Meanwhile, that watch without box and papers today is a lot more money on the secondary market, which is the only place you can get it. Then I bought another one. What did I buy? I bought a 225580, which is the steel bezel with the electric blue dial. And that, I remember opening it and opening the box when it arrived. I think I also bought that on eBay, but I had all the papers and everything. I had a recent service, and I even had all the bits from the previous, from the service, like the little gaskets and stuff that were left over. So I felt a lot more comfortable. I remember opening that box going, like gasping. And my friend John turned around going, "What's going on? What happened?" I'm like, "Nothing." He's like, "What is up with you with watches? What's happening to you, dude?" I'm like, "Leave me alone. I found a new hobby." And then I bought a Planet Ocean with the orange bezel. I can't remember the reference, but you've seen hundreds of them. And I love that too. I quickly spiraled because I had all this money in the bank, I didn't know what to do with it. John kept saying, "Give me like 75 and I'll stick it on the market." And I was terrified because he was playing with his own money and with our friends' money. And I'll never forget, the friend would call him, go, "What the fuck are you doing? We just lost 300,000, or whatever." And my friend is like, "Don't worry, it'll be fine." He's just one of these kind of slow, kind of relaxed guys, never gets stressed. I'm going to wait till later today to see where it turns. And then, of course, the apology call would come later or the next day. Dude, man, I'm sorry. I just, I get nervous. It took me a long time to save this money. And yeah, I understand. Well, I made you 70,000. We should go for a steak lunch. I remember going, oh my God, I don't have the temperament or the nerves for what this dude does. So what am I going to do? Give him 75,000 and fucking start. I don't have any safety net. There's no. You need to have the millions in the bank to then go, fuck it. If I lose it, I lose it. I don't care. Then you gamble with more confidence. Instagram shut down on me again. This is fun. Round and around we go with Instagram. I'm just going to make it live again. I'm going to tell them what the dealio is. Because I think there's some people, I have some bigger numbers tonight, and I think maybe 100 or 200 of them are from Instagram. So add that, put that in. And save changes. Now go live over there. Okay, good. If you're watching me on Instagram, you've got about an hour. Mind you, there's probably only an hour left of the show, so it's fine. Anthony Davies. I love my 300M Omega NATO strap. I think I got her with 10 of them. One of my favorite watches, the Planet Ocean 44.5. Yeah, it's a nice one. Titanium. Yeah, well, Omega can be a drug. Give us no folk, guys. David, do you anticipate any price drops from watch brands in response to tariffs decision in the long run? Well, the Supreme Court has overturned it, or at least they've deemed it illegal. I don't know if Trump will listen. He doesn't like to follow the law much. So it may be deemed unlawful, but whether there are any consequences to that, or price to pay, or any movement made is the next question. You don't understand the lawlessness of this individual. So I don't know. But if they reverse tariffs and say, okay, never mind with all the tariffs nonsense, I would say that what you think the brands might say, I see what you're saying, what you're asking. No, I think is my answer, because I think once brands push their price up to compensate, even if the thing gets lowered later, they leave the price where it is. They don't lower their price. And they shouldn't, because that looks bad. It's a bad look. It's very bad look for a brand to lower their price, especially in the luxury world. Doesn't look good. Just leave it where it is. People are already used to it. That's what I think. I might be wrong. What do you think? Oh, Ramadan started. Ramadan Mubarak to anyone out there who's celebrating it. I saw all the poor people in Gaza trying to set up a meal. sitting there with rubble around them. God help them. Trying to eat some food, celebrate Ramadan. Meanwhile, the others are looking at the video going, we see lots of food. Wetting their lips. God help them. They don't stand a chance. But happy Ramadan. Is it happy? I don't know. What do you say? Mubarak. And if you want to go see the Melania movie, by the way, here's a hack. So there's a lot of people who are going to see it because they just have to see how shit it is, right? Because apparently it's just painfully awful. Of course it is. And my theory, by the way, I stand by it, that Brett Ratner was threatened that if he didn't make it, they would release video of him pissing on some young girl in a hotel room or something. But then a lot of people are saying, well, no, that's I'm buying a ticket, so I'm funneling money, however small, into that. And I'm also bringing up their viewing numbers, which are super embarrassing, by going in and watching the movie. So this is what you do. When you go into a movie theater, you buy your ticket and then the guy's standing there. And then you're into the theater. You can buy the popcorn, and then you walk to the room, there could be 10 different screens, different theaters. So you buy a ticket for a different movie that's starting around the same time. And you just don't go in, you just wander into the Melania one. So there's some other film that's like roughly the same duration that's screening at the same time around the United States, and people are all buying. So that movie's doing really well for viewers. Well, it's not doing really well, but it's got some extra viewers because people are they're buying the ticket for that and then wandering, just opening the door into the Melania thing, sitting down. It's half empty anyway, just to have a laugh. Crazy. It's crazy. George, Archie Lugtree is the man who started it all. Yeah, the first guys I saw, Archie didn't come for a couple of months. I have to say, I got to him late. I don't know how that happened. Mind you, once I finally found him, I was like, this is hilarious. And I loved him. I watched him every day. But I think I found TGV before I found Archie. That would burn Archie to know. But I found TGV first, and he spoke a lot about the history and so on. Maybe he was just reading it. I don't know. But it didn't matter to me. I was interested. And I like the celebrity ones, like the Russell Crowe. And then there's one with Robert Downey Jr., where he's being very blasé about his collection. It was all fun. I miss those days. I do. That was when it was all innocent. Now I know too much. Now I've seen the dark side. It's all been poisoned. Archie is the Pope. We have an Archie fan in the room. Well, he's the what does he call himself? He doesn't call himself the Pope. He calls himself the Pontiff. Essentially the same thing. Not Matt Lang. There was a story somewhere that someone shat in the cinema. I like that. The past tense of shit is shat. In the cinema aisle during a Melania showing. No one noticed for 3 showings. I don't even know. Even if you're a fan of Trump and you voted for him, I don't even know why you'd even go and watch a movie about Melania. Why would you? Is that really on your bucket list? Green Man, that's a hack. Yes, that's a hack. That's if you want to see a Melania movie without supporting the Melania movie, you buy a ticket for the other. I mean, maybe to you, that's something you do all the time. You don't think it's. Well, some people in the audience might be like, oh, yeah, I never thought about that. Maybe they'll do it for a laugh. It's not an amazing hack, but it's a hack nonetheless. Wouldn't you agree? Oh, yes. You can also say Ramadan Kareem, Patrick. Ramadan Kareem. Yeah, they fast, right? It's a big fast. It's a way of purifying the soul and the body. Fine. Interesting stuff. What do you think about the 5512? Looks nice, doesn't it? What a classic. I'll take it on. I'll put on something else. Take it off. Brad Crozier. Let me be totally honest. Can I be 100% honest with you there? Can I be 100% frank and honest with you? O'Sheen? That's how he says my name. O'Sheen. I'd like to be 100% honest with you, O'Sheen. Can I be frank and honest with you for a minute, O'Sheen? Sure. I love you, O'Sheen. You're a cool. What did he call me? I've never had a cool friend before. He always call me cool. It's like I don't know anyone who's cool. You understand? I'm not cool. But you're funny, man. That's what matters. Johnny boy, I'd have that 5512 in a heartbeat. My birth year. Oh, 1968. Okay. Well, I mean, do you have anything to trade? Do you want to trade something? Be nice to give it to someone who had the birth year. DJ, I skipped the super chats, did I? How did I miss them? Let me go through them. Thank you, DG. Yeah, I did Andy London. I did Daniel Katz, of course. DG. Okay, I missed your super chat. I see. 20 hours ago, Trump announced he will be releasing government files related to alien and extraterrestrial life. I wonder, would he really admit that aliens exist just to keep the public off of Epstein? He'll do anything he can. He did say that because there was an interview with Brian Tyler Cohen and Barack Obama where he asks, are aliens real? And Obama wanted to say, they're not in Area 51 unless there's some sort of conspiracy that even the president is outside of. But at the beginning of it, he goes, they're real, but they're not being held. They're not with us on Earth, and they're not being hidden by the government, is what he said. What I took from that is they're most likely real because it's such an expansive universe. Our brains can't even fathom how enormous the universe is and how tiny we are. If for a split second you were able to really picture the size difference and the expansion and the enormity of the universe, even just our galaxy, even just the Milky Way, your blood would come out of your ears and nose immediately. We as fairly relatively simple creatures, we know it technically on paper, and we can estimate, but it's impossible for us to actually, you can see the size difference between you and a skyscraper, and you already have difficulty really mapping that out in your mind of the scale difference. It's quite possible that in your mind you think a skyscraper, even if you're standing right next to it, is smaller than it actually is. Like if the engineers who built it were able to get inside your mind for a moment, they might be like, "Oh no, 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 dude, this is way bigger than your brain is thinking. You think it's big, but it's a lot bigger than what you think." So the expansive universe is so gargantuan. It's extremely unlikely that aliens don't exist. There are tons of arguments for and against, all based on a question by Augusto Fermi posed many years ago, the Fermi paradox. If it stands to reason, given Drake's equation, right? It stands to reason that the universe is full of alien life. If that's the case, where are they? Why haven't we heard from them? Why is the night sky dark? And there is no definitive answer. The fun part is coming up with all the different hypotheses, the different possible answers to that question. That's when it gets fun. And what I took from Obama's comment was that it's probably taken for granted by the government or by science or by NASA or whatever that there's alien life out there. How we can find it, we don't know. If it knows we're here, is unlikely. We're so small in a vast universe. But however, they're probably real. But they're certainly not walking among us like Men in Black, the movies. And they're certainly not in Area 51. That's the thing he said. But people, they locked in on the fact that he goes, aliens are real, but they're not here. He started with aliens are real, and that was enough. And the tinfoil hats came out. Oh my God, did you hear he actually admitted they were real? I don't know. I think a guy like him has to be very fucking careful what he says. No, actually he doesn't, because we live in a world of Trump where no one's careful with anything they say. But then Trump was asked on Air Force One about that, and he said he's revealing classified information. You're not supposed to do that. So he took an opportunity to swing a punch at Obama, which of course he would. But now it's getting extra curious because people are going, hold on, what does he mean? That's kind of admitting. Because we all go on this, or a lot of us go on this assumption that if anyone knows if aliens are real, it's the government, right? We always assume the government is mad intelligent and we're all dumb or something like that. I don't know if you should assume that in most cases. But yeah, the idea is that they're privy to the information, whereas it's hidden from us because we can't handle it. We're supposed to just get up and go to work every day and keep the economy running and not have to think about our expansive universe. I mean, there's a lot of truth to that if you think about it. If you're going to work every day to a job you fucking hate and going through this kind of mundane life, discovering that there's alien life flying around might change that a little, might change your priorities in life. Also, there's much business to be made in conflict, right? Hating your neighbor is a kind of an important thing. Do you remember that movie, The Village, the M. Night Shyamalan movie, The Village? I hope I'm not giving it. I mean, hopefully you've seen it. If you haven't and you don't want spoilers, maybe just turn this off. But part of manufacturing the village and creating a small, isolated community was also creating the other. It's very, very intelligent. It wasn't just creating, traditional values in the village and love and affection and community and people having their roles. One guy makes the bread, one guy, is the blacksmith or whatever. Apart from doing all that, now you need that extra piece in the jigsaw. You need the keystone. And the keystone was out there in the forest, in the trees, beyond the trees, there's the other, those we don't speak of. And they would make noises and so on, and people would fear them. A little bit of fear of the other seems to be a essential component in societies. Whether it develops naturally or needs to be fabricated is a whole other conversation. But it's there. And somehow we just have an innate need to want to dislike others and like our own. It's one of the reasons I don't follow sports much, because it instills that idea. We like our guys and we want our guys to win, and we hate your guys and we want your guys to lose. Just that whole idea, like, it's so fucking retarded. But anyway, this is the world I was born into. I should have been born somewhere else in the universe, but this is the fucking planet I wound up on. Great. Lucky me. The good news is there's lots of booze on this planet, so maybe they don't have booze on that other planet I'm talking about. Pick your battles. So, just the dislike of others has to be there as a constant threat, and it seems to kind of make it puts oil in the machine somehow. A strange thing that peace and harmony doesn't seem to be conducive to society. It's a terrible truth. So if the Americans hate the Russians and the Russians hate the Americans, and everyone hates each other and the Arabs hate the Jews or whatever, and the Jews think everyone hates them, which is not true at all. No one gives a fuck. Well, you keep telling yourselves that so you can keep murdering little brown kids. Then we all get on with business, don't we? If one day the aliens come down, and as Dirk from iBashers very astutely says, if they're hostile, if they're a hostile enemy, then all of our borders disappear, don't they? Now we're no longer, Canadians hate Americans and vice versa or whatever. Now it's just we're all people trying to survive. Puts it in perspective. So if aliens have been a presence for a long time, it is in the interest of large corporations and by implication then governments to keep that a secret because people might start loving their neighbor if they know that the universe is packed full of other potential enemies or friends. And we can't have that. We can't have everybody liking each other. That's not going to work. Here's your rant. I know you were all waiting for a rant. G Surgeon, I got the Zombie as my first watch from the AD this month. Lucky or no? The Zombie trades for less on the Grey. I was offered I have a friend here who gets offered watches all the time from the AD because he's grandfathered in. He has a huge history. So they call him before they call me. Like, I'm a bigger enthusiast than this guy. He frankly doesn't give a shit. He has an old sub and he's happy with it. So what happens is he gets the call and then he calls me and he goes, hey, do you want this thing? They offered it to me. Give me 500 more than I'm paying. Or during the spike of 2021, give me a couple of grand more, and I would buy them from him. So he'd go pick them up and I'd meet him at the Bar Hotel for breakfast and just pick up the watch. And he offered me a Zombie, like, I don't know, less than a year ago. And I turned it down. He was offered it. I think the Zombie is the Zombie's the nickname for it. It's the two-tone GMT. And but not the root beer. The other one. Yellow gold. And I think it was 18 or something. And I think they trade for like 17, 16.5, 17. So if what you mean by did you get lucky? If what you mean by that is your watch worth more out there in the world? No, it is not. It's worth less, a little bit less, not too much. But at the same time, you bought it from them. You're more likely to get another call from them now in the future. It's your watch. No one's ever owned it before. You get the full warranty. You had the nice experience, hopefully, at the AD. For $1,000, maybe that's worth it. I mean, if it's a $10,000 difference, I don't think it's worth it. But maybe for $500 or $1,000 or $50, even a $1,500 difference, you might say, I don't mind. I don't mind getting it brand new from the AD, full warranty, my watch. Never been on anyone else's wrist. And if I want to sell it, I'll lose a little, but it won't break me. Just lose $1,000 or $2,000 maybe. And now if I ask them in 4 months, I ask them for a stainless steel Daytona, I'm a little farther up the list because I did buy the Zombie, There are other perks to buying, Mr. Bradgas. I don't know what you mean. If you're here, if you left out an F. If you're here, the deal. Oh, folks, thank you, sir. G Surgeon, have you considered going to Tokyo and doing a vintage watch shopping video? Now that you have money. What do you mean now that I have money? I was contacted by my agents who get me, advertising and stuff. They were offered a thing where they would fly me to Tokyo and do this thing for some huge store there that sell watches. I think like vintage stuff. And it was a lot of money, and they were going to get the hotel and the flight and everything. but the deal didn't go through. I don't know why. I don't know if they negotiated correctly. I don't know what the hell was going on behind the scenes. Could have been anything. But for that moment, I was like, great. I was excited. I was going to bring all the cameras, and I was going to shoot the store and do all of that stuff, but also, shoot lots of Tokyo and do my own, Tokyo video for the channel. It was a couple of years ago, and it didn't happen. I'd consider it though. Camrad B91, £2. Top 3 divers, 3 chronos. Best chronos, Speedy, Daytona, and I don't know. The AP chrono I have. Diver, it's obvious. It's the sub. The Seamaster 300M. And the Blancpain 50 fathoms. Mr. 488, stick to watched. I love that he fucked up the typing. I don't have to repudiate now. I don't have to say stick to your ma. Stick to bonking your sister. Seeing as we're telling each other what to do. He fucked it up himself. Stick to watched. Because D is right by S on the keyboard, right? Andrew, we need some Ushy music. Are you still playing? I haven't been playing in a while. I have a bass here. I pull it out every now and then. I picked up a bass in Rome when I was in Rome. Just for slapping, because I do a little bit of slap bass, that stuff. Maybe I'll do it. Maybe next week I'll do some slap bass for you guys. You'll get a kick out of it. I didn't really do that stuff much with my band. If you go and look at the band videos, my bass is way down by my crotch and I'm playing with a pick. Totally different style. Because that's what the band needed. And I love that shit anyway. But I haven't been playing. I haven't had my fingers on a piano in quite some time. I need to buy an electric piano for the house. It's all fading, guys. Crazy. Super sticker from Mr. 488. For Mr. Stick to Watched. I assume he's being funny then. Geez, no, because people say that seriously. Like they actually seriously want to tell you what to do. It's funny. GU Surgeon, $20, who's also a member. Thank you, man. No prostate problems here. Oh, you had an exam? Good for you. I should do one of those. Keep streaming, drinking, and no BR breaks. The drinking, I gotta go. Better man than me. Spot on about my zombie. Love it. Loving it, keeping it. Tokyo is awesome. Just go incognito. Yeah, look, I'd love to go to Tokyo, yeah. For the food. Mainly for the food. Johnny Boy Scotland. Give us some Mark King. The sun goes down. Doodle-doo-doo-doo-doo. Living it up. Living it up. I can feel it. Actually, that's the kind of slap I do. I do the Brit funk slap. It's exactly the stuff I do. It's very fast. If I do it, I'll plug it in next week for you. If I do it, I'll make sure not to drink. Because some of the stuff it requires a lot of dexterity. It's my whole life, man. Not Matt Lang. What bass you playing? Don't tend to slap at Ricky. No, I have a status thing. It's a Washburn status. I used to have the real status. I sold it years ago. I just picked up there's a Washburn status on sale for cheap in Rome. That's what brought me down to Rome. Then I did a bunch of live streams in Rome, seeing as I was there, pick up the bass. It's great. She's an animal. She's over there. She's a beast. No, you can't really slap a Ricky. It doesn't work. Can't slap a Rickenbacker. Rickenbacker is different thing. Andrew, why not buy a baby grand? Okay, getting a fucking... I bought a kitchen table, an oak kitchen table, like 10-foot long thing a few years back here, and it cost me like, I don't know, it cost me a lot of money just to have it delivered. I'm in the middle of a lagoon. You order furniture. This is one of the problems I'm having with the renovating of the new place. It's getting people to install the stuff. You know, you can buy a whole kitchen or a whole new, like all the stuff for a new bathroom, but you getting the workers to come out and put it in is a whole other thing. And they charge you 3 times the price because in many cases, the pieces have to be brought by boat. It's one of the difficulties of living in Venice. You pay a price. Imagine buying a grand piano. The care that takes. It would cost me probably 10,000 euros to get the piano out here and into the apartment. Most pianos have to be brought in through the window, so you need a crane. That crane plus the piano has to be brought on boats. It would probably cost me more than 10,000 just for that. Then there's the piano. I'm not going to fucking buy a Kawai or a Yamaha. If I'm going to buy a grand or even a baby grand, I'm going to buy a Steinway. Only piano worth it. Or a Baldwin. Or a Fazioli. I'm not getting a fucking baby. If I'm lucky enough to move, because I'm getting another place after I finish the place, I'm going to have it, and I think my daughter's going to wind up using it a lot. I'm getting other places then. I'm going to get at least one other place elsewhere. One of them might be here in Venice. And if that happens and it happens to have an old piano in it, which can happen because this is a musical city, it has a musical history, well, then I'll have that overhauled because it will more than likely be a mess. Think of the humidity in Venice and everything, just keeping a piano in tune and keeping it well maintained. It's a whole thing. But then I'll spend a few thousand to overhaul the piano and bring it back to working condition. Sure. Listen, if you're some fucking megastar or you're Jeff Bezos or something, then sure, buy yourself a palazzo on the canal and buy yourself a Steinway D, you know, and have it shipped in by all means. They're the kind of people who did it in the first place, the uber rich. I'm putting on the Breguet Tourbillon. This is a work of art. That is a Breguet Tourbillon, my friends, in gold. It's a beautiful thing. Anyway, I can buy myself a electric piano that has weighted keys. Good one. JHB, $20. Cheers, man. Thank you, man. Cheers. Cheers, ears. Rod Cozier. Machine is playing a harp more similar to bass or a piano. It's more similar to a piano. A piano is a harp. Inside a piano is a big harp lying on its side. Bass is a completely different thing. Brad, don't forget the tariffs on your baby grand. Well, it'll be the tariffs coming into Europe. If I get a New York Steinway, mind you, there'll probably be one here in Europe I could just buy used. That wouldn't be a problem. The problem is for you guys on the other side, buying stuff from here, going over there. That's the tariff. Wrong direction. Mr. VG, sounds very expensive to move a large item where you live. Yes. Yeah, well, this is the thing about Venice. It's a bizarre place to live. It's one of the reasons why I love it. Doesn't make any sense. My life doesn't make sense. Nothing in my life makes sense. I went out yesterday to pick up the cigars that the viewer had sent me. And it brought me over to, because they didn't deliver it to my normal place. They dropped it off at some other spot. And it brought me over to a part of town I don't go much. And it's great over there. I love it. It's like nice to feel all the different flavors of Venice. So, I get up and shower and get coffee, say hello to the locals. And then I jump on the boat and I'm over into this other area. San Polo is the area. And a little confused which way to go because, Venice can be a maze. It's a labyrinth. Now, your areas, you get to get a feel of it. But this particular spot is particularly bad for getting confused. Like your orientation gets fucked up pretty damn quick. I'm like, where is this little spot there? I've got to pick it up. So I went by and got the package and then went strolling and clouds moved in and it started, I could feel some drips coming down. I was like, oh, it's going to rain. I don't have an umbrella. And I turned a corner and there's a little awning there over a wine joint that has cicchetti and tramezzini sandwiches. And I was like, well, I guess I'll have a smoke. This is like 2 p.m. I go in, I get a glass of Prosecco, local Prosecco, and a little bite. And I go outside. They have this lovely wooden thing on the outside where you can stand and have and I'm under this awning and the rain comes down heavy and I'm having me smoke and me vino at 2 p.m. Just carefree, nothing, And eventually it moves off and then I keep going. And then I see another spot that I liked that I had been to ages ago. And I was like, fuck it. So I sit down there and I light up another smoke and I have another glass of Prosecco. Like, what is You don't have a life, you weirdo. You're like constantly on holiday your whole life. I did a little bit of, I found a supermarket I'd never seen before. I wandered in to see what they had. They had some interesting stuff, picked up a couple of things. Then wandered to the boat and dropped me off near my place. I came up, I was a little dizzy because I hadn't had breakfast or anything. I was just a Prosecco and a cigar was my breakfast. So I'm a little lightheaded and I fucking fall into bed. I'm fucking take a nap. This lazy prick. It's terrible. So Venice kind of suits me because it's disconnected from reality. It's not I'm able to avoid reality here. I'm able to stay in the dream. Any Star Trek fans out there? Do you remember the Nexus from Generations, Star Trek Generations? The Nexus. Everybody's just trying to get back to the Nexus because in the Nexus everything is perfect. And Jean-Luc Picard finds what's his name? The names are just the original Captain Kirk. He's stuck in the Nexus and he's chopping wood outside, the barn. His wife is still asleep and he's making breakfast, and it's like a perfect little dream world. And he's making eggs and he's like, something's missing. And then toast pops up out of thing. And he's like, everything works at exactly the right time. Yeah, that's the Nexus. Well, that's what Venice is for me. It's the Nexus. You want to just sit dreamy place and just look at gondolas go by and get drunk in the morning? You can. Listen, nothing is calling you back to reality. So, yeah, but there's a price to pay. You want to know if I can renovate a house? I mean, I put down new flooring in the place. The whole place has brand new fucking wood flooring. Wasn't cheap. But like just getting all the flooring delivered was a nightmare. Nightmare. And here's the rub. So there's a ton of bits that need to be dumped. Now, normally when you do this kind of stuff in a residential area or rural area, urban area, you have a skip. You get a big skip, a dumpster, as they say in America. Over here we say a skip. Big fucking steel thing they drop outside your house, and you dump all the extra concrete and the wood and all the extra bits and the old pieces from the old bathroom, the old sink and all that shit. You throw it all into that, and then they come by like 3 weeks later and they just pick it up. Try that in Venice. You have a new problem. We cannot do that. You need to organize it with the government, the local government here, or you pay a private company, or you do both, which is what I have to do. Because the local government they'll pick up 2 square meters of stuff like that 3 times a year maximum, which isn't very much. So now you have to pay these companies, and they charge you €1,000 just to pick up a bunch of stuff and put it on a boat. So yeah, it's a logistical fucking nightmare. If you're coming to Venice and you're getting a place, just get a place that's already pre-renovated. That's my advice. You don't want to deal with this. If I lived inland in Mestre or Murano or Mira or one of these little godforsaken towns, all of this shit would be easy peasy. They have huge centers here. You come on, they make IKEA look like tiny nonsense with a million options. And they'll come as part of the price, they'll come and install it professionally and everything. The Italians are extremely diligent and particular attention to detail. You kidding me? They're started here. Nobody knows more about construction, house construction than the Italians. No one. And you can get it all done for really cheap. Dirk has been looking into getting, if they get a place in Fano, and he can't believe the prices in comparison to the United States. I was like, yeah, well, welcome to Europe. Shit is affordable here and higher quality. Get used to it. And, but not for me, because Oisin decided to live in the Nexus. That's Oisin's problem. Oisin doesn't want to stare down the barrel of cold, harsh reality. He wants to sit in the piazza and order spritz or select while he wears breguet. That's what's happening. Ray, I live in an island because it's an island. It's beautiful. Arran Island, Inishmore, yeah, beautiful. Time stands still out there, man. It's a beautiful place in the world, especially when the sun shines. Joe LaFaro, Venice is the Nexus. Yeah, I used to say that years ago when I used to come visit Venice. There's that last stretch as it leaves Mestre, and next stop is Venice. Most people get off at Mestre. It's more populated, or people going to the airport or whatever. That next stretch now, across the water, out to the lagoon, that's the only people remaining are the misfits or people going to work in a hotel or a restaurant or bar who live on the mainland, but they just go out to the Nexus to work. Or it's tourists who are, they were in Milan for 2 days and now they're going to see. Or you have guys like me who are running away from reality. And I used to say that actually Venice doesn't exist. That actually it's like the Matrix. We don't realize it, but our heads go back on the headrest in the train, and then a thing goes back in our heads, a needle or something. And when the train stops in Venice, there's no Venice. It's just a bunch of people asleep on the train, dreaming this reality of this fucking crazy place that should not exist, makes no sense at all. There's no roads, there's just boats. The place gets flooded. Why on earth would you build? This place is just not practical in any way. There's 450 bridges. None of it makes sense. People walk around in masks. What the hell is this? And when you're finished your day in Venice and you go back to the train, you get on the train, that's when you wake up. So actually, all Venice is just the end of a train line with a bunch of people asleep on trains. That's all it is. That was my theory for years, years. So perhaps I'm asleep on a train right now. That's all you're looking at. You're looking at a guy who's actually living in a dream, asleep in a train station. Perhaps that's it. It doesn't really exist. Look at that. Kyle, got my Nomadic Fjord 555 delivered today. Thanks for your reviews. Which color did you get, Kyle? That's a nice GMT, man. Solid. Solid GMT. Let me pull up my video of that. That was the video where I included the footage of me in the cockpit. God, there was so much controversy over that whole thing. Trolls, they just didn't want to believe that I was allowed in a cockpit. Those wankers, man. All the haters. They're like, there's no way they'd let him in a cockpit. That's how I flew to New York that time. It's fucking great. It's like the best. I've been in first class millions of times. This was the best flight of my life, man. I better turn down the volume so I don't get blocked. Yeah, this is the Nomadic Fjord. This is the burgundy one. Oh yeah, this is my train ride up to see Peter. This is a flashback to when Peter was working out of his bedroom, and I did that promo for him. This is me at Connolly Station getting off the Dart. The Dart. Going up to Belfast for the first time in a million years. We're not interested in the north. Down south, we're like, oh, I'm not going up there. We don't want to fucking know about the north. But actually, it's fucking great. And the people are really sweet. But because of all the troubles and the fact that it's Britain just pisses us off, you know. I gave a taxi driver in Belfast, I gave him euros, and he's like, it's all right. I'll use it next time I go on a trip to Europe. I was like, oh God, yeah, you use a fucking different currency. Why is my country occupied? Anyway, this is the trip up. Beautiful. Then I finally meet Peter after all the work and interaction. Greatest guy ever. Fucking sweetest guy ever. And then we go to his office. He now has a new store. And everyone's fucking so nice. They're nicer up there than the Dubliners. The Guinness was shite, I have to say, but it should be. That's about right. Then I go see the Nomadic. That's the Nomadic boat right there behind. Boom. It's a grey day. Shocker in Ireland. There's the Fjord on the bracelet. Well, I prefer it on the. Oh, it's so much nicer on the. And that's me back down in Dublin. The Halfpenny Bridge, a real pint, finally. Then bringing the watch to Venice, to the Nexus. That's none of that's real in the background, by the way. That's a dream. I'm asleep on a train. Now I'm still asleep. None of this is real, apparently, according to the trolls. Sitting behind my friend. Taken off. I wish I could play the music, but I can't. It's a good video. It's exciting because the GMT is about traveling, right? So I'm like, okay, well, it's about being in different places around the world with different hours. Look at that watch. Fantastic. And this is landing. Landing in JFK, man, was terrifying. It was crazy. That was the best flight of my life. It was very uncomfortable. But I didn't care because I was like, look at this shit. These guys have the best job in the world. Pilot has the best job in the world. I'm sorry. Best job. Ray, Londonderry. You trying to stir the pot there, Ray. Do we see which one our friend got? Hey, there's the Meredith. Venice has been seen through emperors, artists, and statesmen. Today, it's seen through you, unable to super chat for some reason. You're probably somewhere else, man. That's okay. You can always PayPal me if you want. I should be wearing Panerai, though. I should be representing, shouldn't I? It's okay. Pitch Black and Gray, Kyle got. Okay. Let me pull up Nomadic. Pitch Black and Gray. That sounds nice. They're solid micro brands. Yeah, Meredith, you're probably elsewhere. You're probably like in a different country, knowing you. And then it blocks the super chat. The security stuff, you know how it is. There's the Fior. Pitch Black and Gray. This one. Ooh, that's nice. You know, I actually know this watch well because Peter, he came to Venice. Actually, no, it wasn't when we were talking in Venice. It was before that. It was in Belfast when I went to see him that time. We went to lunch, and Rolex had just released the what's it called now? The Bruce Wayne. It's the GMT with black and gray lower half. And he was so angry because he was like, I fucking came up with that first. Because, of course, the whole, you know, between designing, development, and then releasing the watch, there's so much time that goes by. And he's like, no, I'm not copying them. They're not copying him, but he's like, I came up with this without their inspirado at all. You know, it was nothing to do with it. But it was just the timing of it was like so bad for him because he was like, now people are going to think I copied Rolex, but I didn't. This was his idea. They just had the same idea, and of course they make bigger noise. So it's black on the upper half and then a gray on the lower half of the GMT. Yeah, nice. Congrats on that. Well done. Ray is has Dirk started? What do I do? Keep going? I think Instagram got knocked off again. You guys having a drink and a smoke? I have to say I enjoyed those cigars. Where's the box gone? Shit. The cigars I was sent. So nice. Brad Cozier, Dirk's father, had the best job in the world. 707 Pan Am. Hey, listen, you get to be a pilot of any capacity. I think it's Oh, thanks, Ray Ray. I think it's a beautiful thing. I mean, I know there's stress in every job and there's problems. And honestly, with my mate that day, he was just telling me the whole problem about the union and the company. You know, I'm not going to say which company, but there were issues, between the pilots and the company and demanding rights and compensation and all sorts of stuff, all sorts of horrible stuff. And I'm like, why do they not treat you guys like complete royalty? You're the most important guys. Like, aren't you and the guys in the tower, aren't you guys like vital? I was shocked. We parked the car like at the parking lot for the pilots, and it was the farthest one from the airport. We had a really long walk to the airport. I was like, why isn't your parking lot right next to the thing? He's like, because they hate us. I was like, oh my God, like this is a mad smack of reality. I don't like this at all. It was a big wake up call, but it was still thrilling. It was funny as well because we were in the airport and we're bumping into other pilots from other airlines and they're just buying coffee like everyone else. I'm sorry, but like coming from the rock and roll world, when you're in the band, the main band, you don't buy the coffee that everyone else is buying. You're brought coffee or the special area where you have your stuff because you're the talent, I mean, even on a small scale in a small festival or something, you're still the talent. You're still VIP. Why are these very important men who are responsible for the safety of people's lives every day, hundreds of people, thousands of people every week? Why does that guy have to buy coffee at the fucking, like, stand in line with everyone else to buy coffee? I don't understand. It was weird for me, really weird. But it was also a lot of fun because he was great with my friend. He was great with showing me. He had his iPad and he was getting updates on like the tracks that we have. We were on track B. I didn't know there were tracks in the sky across the Atlantic. He's like, oh, it looks like we've got track B and we have to keep this altitude. And he was showing me all the info and I was like, fuck, man. It's like it was an education. I wish I could have filmed all the details, but it's all top secret, really. Even just going to the bathroom was rough because, they got to open a security issue, and someone's got to come one of the flight attendants has to come in and wait while you're in the bathroom. And my bags were back in the seat that I was allocated in the back of the plane with all my stuff. And I was like, can I go back? And I need to get some stuff from my bag. They're like, you can't go back. You're either up here with us or you're back in the plane. You can't. You should have told us earlier. I was like, no, well, it's not important. I'm just like, okay, fine. Okay, let's get back in the cockpit. I want to see more of this shit. Where are my headphones? I want to hear what's going on. Anyway, it was a thrill. Made all the cooler by the various haters and trolls who were like, there's no way they'd let him. They were so jealous, man. They couldn't understand why this Fidel Castro guy would be given such a privilege. Not Matt Lang. Surely the CEO is the most valuable person in the company. Well, yeah. I'm just saying, like, aren't the pilots pretty high up there? I would say so. David. Love Belfast. Shout out to everyone at McCannany's. Did I say that right? In Andersontown. Shout out to McCannany's in Andersontown. Hey guys. I'll come up and see you guys sometime soon. Get a pint. Heavy driver. Gotta love Oisin's expert take on tariffs. Doesn't take an expert to understand how tariffs work. And don't you worry, I've heard from plenty of small watch brands who are like, oh my God. We all know how tariffs works. How tariffs work. It's not that complex. You import a good and there's a duty on it. Simple as that. Shall I go over to Dirk? He's 20 minutes in. I guess I will. We didn't cover a whole lot of ground tonight, did we? Oh, well. It was still fun. Thanks for hanging out. What was I going to say? Oh, yeah, the 5512. I'm going to have to bring this back to Simone if no one moves on it. There's a couple of people who are very serious about it, but yeah. As I learned in the music business, until someone's serious, they're not serious. I think you should grab it. He's happy with 14,000. It was listed for 18.5, which is the going rate for this watch in this condition with these details and the service papers. You know, the prices on these things are fixed. If you find one with original box and original papers and original everything, you're getting up to 25, 30. If you find one without certain things and the replaced bracelet, which is a very common thing, and replaced parts, then you're down to, 12, 13. This is at the 18 mark, and he's happy with 14. So, but I guess if he doesn't sell it, he can put it back into his safe, part of his collection. In 10 years, it'll be worth double. So it's not a bad idea. All right, guys, I will see you on Dirk's stream. Let me give you the link. I'll give you the link in the chat. Go over to talk to Dirk. Why not? On the iBashers. He's the best. There it is in the chat. You can click straight on it. I'll see you guys there in 10 seconds. Have a good one. Peace, love, ciao.